we're breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting loud, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. We're claiming our land.
I hate this show. Oh my goodness.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Are You Smarter Than a Politician? This is your gateway drug to liberty. What if the future of freedom has nothing to do with who wins the next election? Tonight, live from the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival at Lake Satoshi in Michigan, three notable political minds battle over a bigger question. Can we build freedom ourselves? From breaking free of civilized systems to building powerful alternatives, we're putting the future of liberty to the test. So get ready, because tonight you decide who is smarter than a politician. Joining us tonight, back for his second time, Eric Brakey happens to also be a birthday boy. He's the executive director of the Free State Project. You can see their website at fsp.org. On X, they are Free State NH. How are you tonight, Eric?
Is my birthday. I was that's why I've got the birthday ribbon on. I was told if I lose tonight, though, I have to surrender my birthday to one of the other contestants. Would be a real shame. So I hope that you vote for me. But really, the only thing I want for my birthday is for you to go to fsp.org and sign up for our weekly email newsletter. And then if you want to give a gift to yourself, you can also order my book, The Liberty Candidate's Practical Guide to Door Knocking, which is available on Amazon.com for $10. And it's great if you are a candidate and you want to win your race, or you want to support someone who is a Liberty candidate who wants to win their race. So I believe in making Liberty win, not just sitting around talking about it, but going out and doing it. And I'm glad to be here with a lot of people who love Liberty and maybe some future Free Staters. I've been getting some interest here about everything that's going on in the Free State of New Hampshire. So you can learn about it at fsp.org.
Awesome. Happy birthday, bud. All right, joining us for his first time on the show, Ryan Brennan. He is one of the organizers of this amazing Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. Let's hear it if you're having a good time out there. You can check out their website at mplfest.org. They are also MPL Fest on X. They're on the Facebook and all those places as well. How are you tonight, Ryan?
I'm doing great. I just consumed an entire white monster, so I am sufficiently locked in. My contestants, the other contestants, better look out for that.
By white monster, do you mean the pig they slaughtered?
No, that would not be that. It's like literally, I have the can right here. It's empty.
Okay, excellent. That'll be good. Promote yourself and what you're up to in the festival, please.
So we do the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival in here in Michigan at Lake Satoshi. We are trying to create a Liberty community. We invited Eric Brakey out because he's doing that successfully over in New Hampshire. And our objective is to create that space for people who can't leave Michigan and go to New Hampshire, though I'd encourage everyone that can make it to New Hampshire, get out to New Hampshire. But if you can't, the Midwest Peace and Liberty Fest welcomes you.
Awesome. Awesome. Having a great time up here. Thanks for having us up. Thanks to all the organizers. Thanks to Satoshi Mike for this amazing environment. This is not a fake background. This is literally what is going on behind me. This place is so amazing. You would be shocked. It's such a great place. There's camping right over there. You can see right over my shoulder here. There's some camping. Amazing facilities. Like I said, they just slaughtered a pig, showed people how to do that. We're all eating pig right now. I've got pig right here on my plate. Just an amazing time. Also, thanks to David Fight and thanks to Joe for setting up all the AV and all the amazing things they've done. This all is going great. This is our first show ever outside. It's like our 13th live show, but it's the first time we've ever done it outside. So it's an incredible environment. So we're having a great time. What else am I gonna do here? All right. Our Friday shows. What? Oh, Luke. Sorry, Luke. My bad, man. I'm all discombobulated. All right, Luke. I went into the intros first, but all right. Joining us also for the first time, Luke Broyles. He spoke yesterday. He talked about Bitcoin. It was an amazing talk. His website is thebitcoinadvisor.com. He's on all of the socials at Luke_Broyles. How are you tonight, Luke?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Tell us about yourself, promote your company, all that great stuff.
So I make Bitcoin videos, podcasts. I travel to various Bitcoin conferences. This is my first ever libertarian conference, let alone a libertarian festival. So it's very fun. Thank you for having me. The food is wonderful. The snacks are great. And the people are even better. So appreciate that. Also, as a thank you on behalf of myself and Satoshi Bike, we got $10 a Bitcoin for literally anybody here that wants it, that's able to open up a wallet. It's super easy. I promise it's easier than you think. And so we have free Bitcoin for anyone that wants that. And I'm happy to be here, and it's a lot of fun. Thank you.
Can the people at home do it, or is this just an in-person thing?
It's in person. You know, they should come here next time. Maybe they'll get some. Maybe they will be paid in Bitcoin to come here and eat wonderful food. You know,
absolutely, absolutely.
You know, August 2027. There you go.
Yeah,
so,
I got the date. I'm showing it. So, all right, great to have you, Luke. Thanks for doing this. All right, I jumped ahead. So, our Friday night shows are sponsored by Xano. And where is that? Okay. If you believe in liberty, stop using money built for surveillance. Xano gives you the power to own your own data, your money, and your assets, all in one simple, secure platform built for real-world freedom. Take back your financial freedom at intro.xano.org. Xano, because privacy is freedom. We appreciate them sponsoring the show. Thanks to all of our subscribers. We were saying, I don't know, we've done a dozen live shows now. The subscribers are a big reason that we're able to do that. So thank you so much. You can subscribe to us on X. And if you want to sponsor the show, email studio@freedomuncut.com. And because this is the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival, I would be remiss to not point out our friends at antiwar.com are doing their fundraiser right now. And we need all the help we can with having great journalists to fight back against all the war propaganda out there. And antiwar.com is doing a great job of it. So I'm not affiliated with them, but I'm a huge supporter of them. In fact, I just donated Xano to them the other day. So if you have the means, go to antiwar.com and donate to them. Big friends of ours. So yeah. All right, let's jump into it here. I got a bee going after my pig. What is going on? All right, I'm fighting a bee. Yeah. Oh, I'm allergic too, so that'd make for a good show, because then I would stop talking. It might be good for ratings, though. All right. Welcome again. Again, thanks to everybody at the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. We're having an absolutely great time, an amazing environment, and they have their tentative dates for next year. It's up on the screen for the people viewing the live stream. It's August 12th through 15th, 2027. It's a very affordable time, people. It's really wonderful. People have been swimming and canoeing all day. We've had all amazing speakers, couple on the panel here. It's been amazing. So if you get a chance, if you're anywhere near here, you know, tank of gas to get here, whatever it is, you should do it. So next year, August 12th through 15th of 2027. Hope to see you here. All right. On X, I am at Smarter Gameshow. Our amazing producer, who's back in Florida, doing her thing behind the scenes. This is the lovely Terry Batts, and she's at Batts T76. This is Amity. She helps me out with all these live ones, and you know we may know each other a little bit better than that. But on X, she's at Amity Lee 13, And my buddy Casey's helping out with the tech guys here. He's back in Utah. He's at American versus Gov. So follow all of them. Our swag is available at freedomsuperstore.com. I am wearing the Make Anarchy Great Again shirt. Amity's wearing the My Other Car is a Killdozer shirt. We have lots of great stuff. We have shirts. We have mugs. You can get those there. On YouTube, we're at Freedom Uncut. Same on Rumble. Also, our website, our brand new website is smartergameshow.com. You can find stuff there as well. Please share this out. Help bust the algorithm. All right. So since Trump ruined peace prizes, we made our own. These jokes are way funnier if you can see the pictures, but just pretend they're funny. But all right. So we have our grand prize tonight is the Are You Smarter Than a Peace Prize. We also have Mike Johnson's signature cologne Swamp Ass, as well as the Ayn Rand Fountainhead teddy bear. We have an assortment of libertarian bobbleheads, including the great Justin Amash that's from Michigan. We also have the Mitch McConnell cryogenic chamber. It keeps career politicians on ice long past their expiration date. We have Dr. Fauci's truth suppressant vaccine. It makes you immune to criticism, questions, facts, and reality. We also have the Trump rug pull starter pack, the only starter pack that guarantees you make the bag. We have the Uniparty garbage cans because both sides belong to the same trash. We have the MAGA blow up influencer. She looks real. She sounds empty. She gets paid. And we have all of the religious books by Trump, the Trump Torah, the Trump Quran, the Trump Bible. It's funnier if you see the picture. Trust me on that. And we've got the congressional pacemaker. We have the UFC White House set, but because it's the White House, the figures are sold separately. And we have the Trump Nativity set. It's August, and we still haven't been able to get rid of this piece of crap, so somebody's got to take this off our hands tonight, please. All right, and the Lego Killdozer, because nobody talks about the Killdozer more than me and Casey do. All right, here are the rules. I am the government. Whatever I say goes. Scoring errors count. Life isn't fair. Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. The chat controls the score, so you guys can do this here live and in person. You can go on to either Smarter Game Show on X or at Freedom Uncut on YouTube. And the chat can give or take up to 100 points from the contestants. You can have a good reason. You can not have a good reason. Just put it in the chat. We'll read the funny ones and the interesting ones. And because I am the government and I believe in crony capitalism, subscribers can give or take up to 200 points because they pay me, so they matter more. Nuking a score. Any former contestant can nuke a score, taking it down by 1,000 points. The twist is they can only be nuked one time, and it has to be for a good reason. All right. After all that, lightning round. First question is to Eric. The category is gun rights. Every time we do gun rights, we like to point out Dexter Taylor should not be in jail. So go to his GoFundMe and give him some money to help with his legal defense. So free Dexter Taylor. Eric, category is gun rights. Is the right to defend yourself the most basic freedom there is?
It is the right that defends all other rights. I think that we often talk about in government, right, checks and balances, between the three branches of government, and that's all well and good. Those are horizontal checks and balances. What we don't talk enough about is the vertical checks and balances, right, between the federal government and the states, right, the 10th Amendment, the right to nullify unconstitutional federal laws. But then there's also the ultimate check and balance of the individual versus all of the government. And that is the individual right to keep and bear arms. I think that Mao Zedong was wrong about most things, but he was right about one thing, which is political power grows out of the barrel of a gun. And so if you want to have a free people and you want to have a free society, the people have to be able to own the guns. If all the guns are in the hands of the government pointed at the people, then that's not going to be a free society for very long. So yes, it is the most fundamental. You don't have the freedom of speech if you don't have the right to keep and bear arms. You don't have a right to privacy if you don't have the right to keep and bear arms. You don't have any freedom at all if you don't have the right to keep and bear arms.
Totally agree. All right, second question here is to Ryan. Do stricter gun laws actually reduce crime?
First and foremost, I'd like to preface this by saying they're all infringements. No, I don't believe that there's any proof that stricter gun laws reduce crimes. I believe that it doesn't matter about what tool is being used to inflict violence or to initiate force or violence on innocent people. It's a matter of a culture that creates that violence. So what they like to do is they like to create this gun boogeyman. and we have to crucify the gun industry or take away civilian firearms or right to own those firearms. But it doesn't take away from or doesn't solve the actual problem, which is a culture of violence, a culture of nihilism that is being perpetuated by soulless government institutions that they themselves propagate, essentially. It doesn't solve any problems. It doesn't reduce crime. It doesn't actually solve the problem. All it effectively does is disarm you, take away your ability to defend yourself, your individual rights, and your freedom, and put yourself at the mercy of a government that has no incentive to protect you.
Totally agree. All right, Luke, to you. Are law-abiding citizens more restricted than criminals?
Are law-abiding citizens more restricted than criminals?
Correct.
Could you clarify that a little bit more?
Like, do laws only stop law-abiding people and criminals ignore them, basically?
Oh, I see your point. Yeah, so this goes off, I guess, the gun regulation question. I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody is going to do something horrible and evil against somebody else, I don't think they're going to have a lot of regard for the law either. So I do believe that the government has a role to punish those that do evil and reward those that do good, or more importantly, punish those that do evil. But at the end of the day, yes, laws do restrict a certain number of freedoms, which is why it's really important we make sure that when we're passing a law that it is as clear as possible, well defined as possible. And I think one of the big problems, especially these days, is that we have so many bills that are passing with vague laws. And if it's vague and it's hard to define if you broke the law or not, well, then let's just assume that they broke the law and then they're in trouble too. So I think in an ideal society, laws should be clear. They should be well defined for people. And yes, that would limit a certain amount of freedom. I shouldn't have the freedom to go kill my neighbor or the person next to me. But at the end of the day, when the law is vague and it's unclear, then in a way, yes, that average citizen is limited in a way that even criminals aren't, especially when, like our government today, we release the criminals, or at least many of the criminals. So yeah, I would say that it depends on the context of the situation, but I see where your question's coming from. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Next category to you, Eric. The category is food freedom. Is food regulation protecting consumers or just protecting big producers?
Well, I think that there's often a big heart sometimes for people who imagine that these regulations are going to protect consumers, but the inevitable result when you concentrate power over an industry, particularly the more you concentrate it in Washington, D.C., and sometimes, and with regulations in the unelected branches of Washington, D.C., is regulatory capture, right? The more you concentrate power over these industries in the hands of the government, the more that those who are already established in those industries with big financial capabilities can buy off the regulatory structures and create them in such a way you create incredible barriers to entry for the little guy, and you establish monopolies or oligopolies for the big folks who are already in there. So that's the practical effect. I'm a big supporter of Thomas Massey's efforts that he did while he's still in Congress. So, I don't know that it's going to happen before he gets out of there, but his efforts with the Prime Act, particularly trying to deregulate the ability for people, for small farms to be able to grow and raise and butcher and sell their own meat to the neighbors. The meat industry in particular is so highly regulated. I know when I was a state senator in Maine, this was a huge problem. The USDA kind of requires that you have to go through their meat processing facilities, and there are just not enough. And so the little guys just can't go to market. It's a real stranglehold, and government just needs to get out of the way.
All right. Real quick, if you guys are having side conversations, if you could move a little further away from us, I'm having a hard time hearing their answers on the monitor. So any help you can give us would be greatly appreciated. All right. To you, Ryan. Should small farms face the same rules as industrial food companies?
Fundamentally, I don't think those rules should exist at all. We had Mark Baker here. He supplied the pig, and he's fundamentally been doing it himself without paying much heedance to these rules, regulations, or restrictions, and still doing good things for his community, still producing good food, and even revolutionizing in his own little way how he produces that food. The pig, for example, was grazed on a pasture that he planted. He didn't use hog chow, which increases the nutritional value of the hog, and it just proves to me that he actually cares about the food that he's producing for his community, especially this one. So I don't think these regulations protect people. I don't think they should exist for any business, big or small, especially small businesses, because these big industries pass these regulations, these guilds pass these laws and restrict the business of the small guy because it benefits them directly. This is a modern day guild. They should not exist, and we should get them out of the way.
Absolutely. And speaking of Mark Baker, I'm eating some pig right now. Yeah.
It was delicious.
Absolutely amazing. They slaughtered the pig on premises here, brought it in on a trailer, slaughtered it, and then showed everybody how to butcher it. And what an amazing hands-on demonstration for a festival. So kudos to you guys for pulling that off. Very cool stuff. And I believe there were no permits pulled. Maybe I shouldn't say that on the internet. Allegedly. But yeah, allegedly. Did not pay for our God-given permission to do that. So excellent. All right. Luke, to you. I hope you don't mind, I'm still chewing. But should you be allowed to sell homemade food without a government permit?
I think you should be allowed to sell it. I don't think you should be allowed to falsify that document. So if, for example, the government has a regulation or a license or whatever, like, you should be allowed to lie to your customers and say, oh, we have this approved or whatever. But like what was said earlier, I think most of those regulations are not needed at all, or even if they are needed, if you want to make the case they are needed, they're not needed in any way like how they are today. I know so many ranchers and people that raise cows, and they're struggling just because their competition is subsidized, and it's a horrendous situation. But even if one could make the argument that those things should be there, like, people should be able to transact and sell that if they want to, as long as they're being honest with their customers. But then again, even then, the role of the state, I think, should be much less in regulating who gets to sell what. So
awesome. Excellent. All right, back to you, Eric. The category is health freedom. Is healthcare more expensive because of government involvement?
I remember seeing a study several years ago that about a third of the price of healthcare in America is just bureaucracy. And maybe that's even underestimating it all.
Yeah, I'll take the over.
That what is amazing now, I'm a big fan of direct primary care. That's what me and my wife, we use. We pay a doctor, our primary care physician, about like just over $100 a month, and we can see him anytime we need, and we don't use insurance, we don't use Medicare or Medicaid. And for him, it's amazing. When I go and sit down with my doctor, I get to see him for like an entire hour, versus I remember when I was like going through private insurance trying to see my doctor, I'd be lucky if I saw my doctor for 5 minutes. It is affordable healthcare because he doesn't have to hire a whole team of people to process paperwork to keep up with the bureaucracy of the system. It's just him and his receptionist, and that brings down the price and makes it affordable for families. What we have in healthcare now, it's like the old lady who swallowed the fly. I remember this story when I heard it, like when I was 5 years old, this old nursery rhyme. There was an old lady who swallowed the fly. Why, oh, why? We don't know why. We think she'll die. So she swallows a fly, and then she's like, oh, I got this problem. So what am I going to do? I'm going to swallow a spider. Well, now I got a bigger problem. So I'm going to swallow a frog. Then I'm going to swallow a cat, then a dog. And then before you know it, she's swallowing a whole horse, and then she dies, right? And that's our healthcare system, right? You go all the way back to World War II, when government started intervening in the healthcare system to try to keep things, affordable, and to restrict certain kinds of competition in the marketplace. And they just, whatever small problem they had, they came up with a solution that made the problem even worse and even worse. And they keep putting layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy on top of this system, making it more unaffordable, less accountable to the people. And so the solution, I believe, in fact, I ran for Congress on this, is just personalized healthcare, cut out the middlemen, cut out the bureaucrats, do everything you can to restore the direct doctor-patient relationship. And it's not just the public bureaucrats in Medicare and Medicaid and these government programs. It's also the private insurance companies' bureaucracy, which is propped up by all of these laws, including Obamacare, the so-called Affordable Care Act that made healthcare much less affordable. You need to cut out these middlemen bureaucrats. that we are paying exorbitant prices for the privilege of being bossed around rather than just having direct relationships with our doctors. That's how you make healthcare affordable, accountable, and accessible for the American public again.
Awesome. All right, Ryan, to you. Should you be allowed to make your own medical decisions without government approval?
You know, it's very interesting that the My Body, My Choice crowd is still out to lunch on this one because they seem to make that case very succinctly when it comes to reproductive health care, but they don't seem to do the same thing when it comes to vaccinations or very specifically the whether or not you should have the choice to take experimental medication. The very frank answer is it is your body. That is your property. That is your choice, your decision, and no bureaucracy, government, or otherwise can make or force that decision. The one caveat I think should exist, we were talking about healthcare, or not a caveat, but rather when it comes to healthcare specifically, another thing I wanted to talk about and just touch on real quick is that 70% of funding for healthcare is Medicare funding and Medicaid funding. So it's government funding. One of the truly fascist industries in America, I know people like to throw around the word fascism a lot, is the healthcare industry. So they get to set these terms. The government gets to set the terms and conditions. So they have inspectors come through all the time, and they get to be able to make decisions like whether or not employees in healthcare facilities should be vaccinated. And if they don't meet those standards or have the employees jump through stressful hoops in order to get themselves exempt, they cannot adequately make that decision for themselves without losing their livelihood. So to go back to your question, my body, my choice.
Excellent. I agree. Very well put. All right, Luke, to you. Would you trust a free market over a government program to lower healthcare costs?
Yes. I suppose to expand on that, you know, agreeing agreeing with especially what you were saying about the middleman and all the bureaucracy with it. I mean, the most expensive or the highest rising cost of living in America or in the world at large are the ones that are heavily subsidized, right? So education, healthcare, things like that. And it always comes in the name of, oh, we're going to stabilize things. We're going to make things better, right? Just like with the central banking system and over the course of decades in the late 1800s, early 1900s, it's, oh, we're going to come in, we're going to stabilize it, we're going to subsidize it, we're going to make sure that it's, you know, good for every man, right? And it's a nice and enticing idea for most people because ideally we want everything to be free, right? That's what the human self-interest desires. But of course the problem is when you add that bureaucracy and it just grows and grows and grows and it becomes reliant on the refinancing of an ever larger amount of debt that inherently is growing exponentially while at the same time the free market's trying to drive down prices, then the prices just go up because that centralized debt entity has to win, otherwise it goes default. So yes, the free market not only is better than the government, it is infinitely better than the government because the government doesn't do anything at reducing those costs. The only thing that government can quote unquote do to push it along is redistribute funding from somewhere else to put it back into somewhere that the free market was working on already to push what was already going. So if instead the government got out of the way, I believe the free market would be working even faster. But of course, the irony and trouble here is that the government is in the way. And so the problem is that the faster the free market works at deflating the cost of healthcare or anything else for that matter, the faster the prices have to ironically rise, which is exactly why education healthcare has been skyrocketing over the last decades, is because we've had such tremendous advances in healthcare and education that the nominal side of the equation has to go up to compensate for that because the debt is insolvent. So long and short, yes, the free market will be better at reducing healthcare costs because it is better, which is exactly why the nominal price is skyrocketing.
Totally agree. All right. Next question to you, Eric. The category is peace and non-intervention. Can peace be a stronger national security strategy than military intervention?
Certainly. I mean, of course, there are moments where we need to defend ourselves and we should be prepared to defend ourselves. But when we look at, let's look at the real lesson of the 9/11 attacks, right? We weren't attacked on 9/11 because we were just peaceful and minding our own business. As Dr. Paul noted during those presidential debates in 2008, we were attacked on 9/11 because we had been militarily intervening in the Middle East for decades. We'd been bombing countries that never did anything against us. We've been propping up governments that don't have the best interests of their people, including and we had our troops on the Arabian Peninsula in like holy lands, and of course there is the other topic that is always kind of nobody wants to talk about, the fact that we've been propping up the Israeli Zionist regime in the Middle East that has been, kicking people out of their homes and genociding the people of Palestine. So all of these are aggressive acts that our government has been doing in our name. And of course, this spurns a reaction against us, just as we as patriotic Americans would react if a foreign power were to come over to these United States and try to do this to us in our backyard. We could imagine if China or Russia or some other country were to send their military over here in the name of spreading, their values or democracy or whatever they claim to believe in at the barrel of a gun. If they said they were not bound by our Constitution and our laws, and that they were responsible through their actions for the death of innocent civilians, we would react. And so the more we are aggressive, we take an aggressive military posture around the world, the more we inspire hatred against us, the more we create blowback against us, and the less safe we are. So we should have a very strong defense. We can, in a much longer conversation, we could talk about ways we could actually provide for our defense here in the U.S. of A. But this is not that. We are spending trillions of dollars to make ourselves less safe in order to profit many members of the military-industrial complex, in order to prop up foreign powers that do not have America's interest at stake in mind. So, yes, peace would be a much better policy for providing for our defense than currently whatever the hell you want to call what it is we're doing right now.
Peace is cheaper too. Let's throw that out there. All right, Ryan, to you. Has the war on terror done more to reduce freedom than increase security?
It's reduced freedom and reduced security both at the same time. And they keep saying that Iran is the the global state sponsor for terrorism, but I thought that was the United States who's been funding every single terrorist regime that we've been funding continuously throughout this entire war on terror. So I don't know where they're getting their stats from. But the fact of the matter is that all the war on terror has done is piss people off nationally or globally and nationally at home. It has made us less free because they have used this as a justification to intervene in your personal life, to invade your privacy, to enact laws and policies and position and justify positions to decrease the amount of freedoms that you have at home for the sake of national security or what have you. So it has done neither, in my best estimation.
That would be correct. Absolutely. All right, Luke, to you. Should the United States close military bases abroad?
I think that even if we should have some of them open, the vast majority are not necessary. But I think the problem, though, the heart of the problem is that at the end of the day, can we? Because we have the world's money is the U.S. bond market, and it's the U.S. dollar. And so the trouble that every politician finds themselves in is that if we were to do that, if we were to stop being the world's police, if we were to stop trying to control the route of oil around the world and everything else, and at the end of the day, who's going to buy our bonds? Who's going to buy our currency? So I feel the heart of the question of should we or should we not? But I think at the end of the day, I try to be as pragmatic as possible. And the reality is that can we? If we do, then our entire bond market and currency system falls apart. And so even if someone wants to do that, how is one going to viably do that? Which is why I'm so passionate about Bitcoin. And I believe that the way of the the future.
Random
we
dog.
Have
we have a random
dog.
Right,
hey pup, how you doing?
Yeah.
Anyway, so my point is that should we be less intervene globally? Yes, of course. I agree it's the case. Of course, the problem is if we were to do that overnight, then there would be a whole lot of instability, because the whole reason why people accept our currency and our bonds is because they're afraid that we're going to, as you guys said, bomb them if they refuse it. So it's impossible to say, but at the end of the day, obviously we should have less. But the pragmatic answer, I believe, is instead of ripping everything out and then having the chips fall wherever they're going to fall, build something new that is a replacement to that doesn't have to rely on state-sanctioned violence to continue the money moving around the world.
Does Bitcoin fix it?
I believe Bitcoin does fix it.
Interesting. So it's kind of the mafia take of our currency shit, but we'll defend you is really where we're going at there. All right. Enter your scores in the chat if you've not done so already. Please share the show out again. We've got a few hundred people, almost 700 people live watching this. Appreciate you all. Share it out again if you can. If you're live here and you're in the chat, let us know. All right. Let's check out the live chat and see what's going on. Bronner's here. What's up, Bronner? Jonathan Miller's here. He's running for NC Senate, and he's a subscriber. Appreciate you, brother. Amity's here. She's right there, actually. Right there. Right, literally right there. Mariah's here. Hey-o, that's my friend. Woohoo! All right. Killa is here. Welcome. Grumpy Gnome is confused as to what day it is. I am also confused. We're usually on Fridays, and this is Saturday. Jim Lee's here for a live show. The outdoor audio is perfect. Shout out to these guys for making this amazing. It sounds really great. Amity's got 200 birthday points for Eric. I knew that was coming. It was a good idea to wear the ribbon. The ribbon was a good prop. HVAC Soldiers here. Mitch McConnell was released from the hospital today, a few days ago, supposedly. I believe none of it, HVAC Soldier. Anti-Federalist Party's here. 100 for Eric for actually being in the government before. Yeah, an elected official.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, yep. Both a blessing and a curse, or is that, I don't even know how you would say that.
Gotta be a virus in the system.
Yeah. Liz is here. Welcome. Phil's here. Noodle Man for head of FCC. All right. 100 to Eric for the Ron Paul shirt. He's got all the props. 200 to Ryan. All gun laws are infringements. LPNC is in the chat. That's probably my buddy Rob Yates, who's a subscriber. Yep. Liberty Shamrocker's here. 100 to Luke for the longest answer since Larry Sharp was on. In Larry Sharp's defense, he's still answering a question from the show he was last on. So you will not beat his record. Chris Townsend, my buddy and a subscriber, is here. 200 to Eric for the Massey shout out and for supporting the Prime Act. Chris says, outside, great view and best live audio yet. Who would have thunk it? Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. I'll screw something up. I'll probably mute myself or break something. 100 to Eric for the Prime Act explanation. 200 pig points to Ryan. There will not be a pig wandering across the stage. I can guarantee the pig is gone.
No, we shared that.
Yeah,
we shared that yesterday.
Yeah, the pig is no longer. We will probably only have dogs wandering across the stage. 100 to Ryan. The laws shouldn't exist at all. I agree with that. 200 to Eric for the cape/costume. Cast a spell on the government.
I don't get it, but I'll take it.
Super Noob is here. -2 to Ryan for being two-based. That seems counterintuitive, but 200 to Luke. No permits. Sell it if you want to. 100 to Eric for evading the insurance scam. 100 to Eric for healthcare free market solutions. 100 to Ryan for his my body, my choice answer. That was really good. 200 to Ryan for the same. 100 to Ryan, government medical industrial complex, 7% healthcare costs. 200 to Luke for recognizing that government subsidized industries are more expensive. Use smaller words, Amity. We're outside. Waz is here. My buddy Waz. Follow him on @Waz channel. Mike is here. 200 to Eric for the Ron Paul nod. Blowback is a bitch. 200 to Eric for the genocide in Gaza comment. 200 to Ryan. U.S. is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism. Whoever this super noob is going after you, Ryan. Another -2 for being too cute. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take this as
Yeah.
somewhat of a victory, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Loving the outdoor show. Yeah, this is our first outdoor show. This is amazing. If we get to 10,000 live views, I'll jump in the lake.
On camera?
On camera. I mean, it's right behind me. I literally just need to get up and just run that way. Yeah. Okay. My buddy Dan's here, another subscriber. Minus 20 to Luke for not petting the dog. We weren't sure what it was. It just kind of whipped up on him. So
Georgie's great.
yeah. 200 to the dog. Dogs are way better than humans. The dog is now in third place. The dog's ahead of Ryan with all the minus twos. 200 to Luke. Bitcoin fixes this. Michael's here. And 100 to all because I made it tonight and y'all are awesome. Appreciate you, brother. Tony Durazio is here. What's up, buddy? 100 to Ryan because he looks right in the wilderness. All right. Let's check the scoreboard out. And here we go. And it's the birthday boy in the lead, 1,900 points. Actually, I was wrong. Ryan is in second with 1,796, and Luke's in third, 1,580. I think the dog's got like 200 or something. The dog is not on the scoreboard, but the dog it did get points.
The dog is in the running.
The dog's name is George.
The dog's name is George. So, yeah, the dog is definitely smarter than a politician.
I'm the only politician up here, and I'm winning right now.
That's
I don't
true.
know.
That's true. That's true.
Are you still a politician?
You know, I mean, is that something that once you're a politician, are you always a
I
politician?
don't think you get that stink off you. I think
Yeah,
that's
I spent.
He's bathed in the lake a couple times.
yeah.
I swam. It's a really nice lake behind us. It's like shaped like a crest. And I've swam the whole length of it and back again 3 times. It's a great.
That's nice.
Folks should come out here and swim in this lake next year. It's wonderful.
I bet you the healthcare companies would say once you're a politician, you need to be medicated for the rest of your life.
It's
That
a
would be my
pre-existing condition.
guess. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's jump back. Let's jump back into it here. Let's go a little faster if we can. All right. Back to you, Eric. The category is privacy and digital freedom. Is digital privacy becoming the defining civil liberties issue of our time?
Well, we live in a digital age. So yes, I mean everything is digitized. Everything is online. Everything is, and the way that the government interprets the Fourth Amendment is the same way gun grabbers want to interpret the Second Amendment, right? Well, this was written about muskets, right? The Fourth Amendment. Well, this was written about papers and effects, right? The founders didn't envision computers and the internet, so therefore those aren't papers and effects. These things don't apply. And of course, we've been dealing with this since the Patriot Act, and the federal government's kind of reach into our digital effects just grows worse and worse. I've faced this myself. Boy, you know, it was just about 10 months ago. I was getting off a cruise, coming back into the country, and Border Patrol confiscated my phone and my computer, demanded the passwords to all my devices. It was kind of a realization of like what kind of police state we have for their kind of unconstitutional demands for access to our digital communications. But the crazy thing, of course, that was what I saw in that moment with real people in front of me demanding that, when most of the time it's happening and we don't even see it. Most of the time it's just all of our information in the cloud, and they say you've entrusted this to a third party, and therefore you do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy, and therefore the federal government just claims the right to dragnet all of it. And I wonder sometimes what it would look like if I could see like the digital profile they have on me, as they probably have on each and every single person, based on what you click on, what you're posting on Facebook, what your internet browser history is, what those things are you don't want to be in your internet browser history. When you click, clear history, I'm sure they've kept a record of it. So yes, with everything that we do that's online, more is known about us than ever before. It's like privacy itself is dead, and it is going to take real effort to restore that. And I will just make one final note: as we are entering into this advent of artificial intelligence and AI, we should be very careful with all of these restrictions that are coming on AI. They want the government and the big corporations and privileged people to have the most powerful AI, and you shouldn't be able to have one yourself. This is like the Second Amendment of the digital era. If the government is going to have a powerful AI, I want to be able to have a powerful AI to defend myself against the government. So just like we should keep and bear arms in the physical world, I want to keep and bear digital arms so that I can defend myself in this digital age as well.
You're definitely still a politician because I said go faster and he gave the longest answer of the night. They totally ignored me, but I'm just busting on you. Also in the chat, 200 points to anybody that catches the dog and hugs it. That's from the chat. All right. Ryan, to you, can people truly be free if everything they do is monitored?
I don't believe they can, because specifically about the flock debate going on right now, what flock is currently doing is they have an incentive to keep putting up cameras. That is, to keep putting up eyes, to keep putting up a infrastructure that can be co-opted, like it has been in China, which is why dissident Uyghurs were able to be rounded up and put where the Chinese government wanted them. That didn't start off as the intent. The intent was safe and secure communities. So what this company is going to do essentially is it's going to package mass surveillance, or a foundation of mass surveillance, as public safety, catching the next Amber Alert, catching the next roving criminal, create a foundation of mass surveillance, and we are going to slowly become, or through complacency or through believing the lies of the people or the good intentions of the people that are currently trying to put these up, we are going to create a foundation for mass surveillance. It will happen in our lifetimes, and I don't believe that if we allow that foundation to be solidified and cemented, that we will be free. It is an existential threat to our liberty. I would not like the government knowing that I go to my local 7-Eleven at 1:47 a.m. and shadowbox behind it. I would appreciate them not knowing that. I would appreciate them not knowing who I'm seeing currently, where I work, how I get to work. And by the way, there's a bunch of vulnerabilities there. If anyone with the willpower and the know-how can get access to that data too, that digital profile, and if they wanted to find you, they could. And also, not to mention that Flock has spied on a preschool by pointing cameras at them. That's worth mentioning too, because that's crazy.
Yeah, the Flock cameras look like the background with the kids playing in the background here. So, yeah. All right, Luke, to you. Is financial privacy just as important as free speech?
I would say that the ability to transact freely is an expression of free speech, because you're freely expressing where you want to place your capital, where you're placing your time, because money is basically condensed time. So yes, I would say it's equivalent. I don't know if I would say one is more than the other, because I would say they're effectively the same. I think it's hard to have one without the other. So that's what I would say in regards to that. Obviously, I think Bitcoin is the primary way in which people can be doing that. Which, for those of you that don't know, Bitcoin is pseudonymous, so it's everything is visible to everybody on chain, but people are not at the base layer KYC'd. So there are inherent trade-offs with everything, and this is one of the trade-offs with Bitcoin, which is something that has come up in conversation this weekend, among other times, about, well, what's the whole point of Bitcoin if people are still seen on there? But that's the whole point, is that even though you're still seen on the network, you're not KYC in a certain sense. So I forget your question exactly, but I would say that yes, it's important for people to be able to transact freely and to be able to do that without the ability of a middleman in between to say no to that, because eventually that middleman is going to say no, right? Which to your point about AI, I think is one of the troubles with AI and everything else, about how many of these things are centralizing forces. AI is a centralizing force and everything else, and so it's really important that we have something that's decentralized. And I think having money that's decentralized prevents everything else from centralizing.
Totally agree. All right. This next category is sponsored by our friends at Xano. If you're new to privacy coins, visit intro.xano.org. Eric, the category is cryptocurrency and sound money. Should Americans have the unrestricted right to own and use cryptocurrency?
Certainly. And of course, as we know, Americans have not always had the protected right to use whatever forms of money that they would like. We can go back, of course, to FDR's seizing of everyone's gold. to know that the government does not respect our right to use and hold real money. And of course, we experienced in the early years of the advent of cryptocurrency the attack on pioneers in the cryptocurrency sphere. Of course, in the free state of New Hampshire at the Porcupine Freedom Festival, that is where the support began for the Free Ross campaign to free Ross Ulbricht from the double life sentence that he was sentenced to for basically building a website where people could transact with Bitcoin. And so many others have been persecuted for being pioneers in cryptocurrency. In New Hampshire, we still have one of our people who is behind bars in federal custody. His name is Ian Freeman. And in fact, you can sign the petition to free Ian at, I think it's freeian.org or .com.
I got it right here. Visit freeiannow.org. I put up the screen for the people at home. Freeiannow.org.
Freeiannow.org. Despite the fact that Donald Trump has declared that the war on crypto is over, it clearly is not, because we still have people behind bars. And sometimes I wonder with Donald Trump if he's just saying that so he can do his own pump and dump schemes to enrich himself and his family, which seems to be exactly what he's doing. So I will say I did vote for Donald Trump, and I'm glad that Ross is free, but I've been very disappointed by this president and so many of the broken promises that he's put out there. So yeah, the war on cryptocurrency continues. It's something we have to be vigilant. But I think what's really encouraging is that it is a force that cannot be stopped because there is no, particularly with something like Bitcoin, which I'm most familiar with, though I suppose I'm a bit of an agnostic on, which cryptocurrency is the one to rule them all. Though I will say, putting my money where, I put my money into Bitcoin. I don't know enough about the others. But what I think is brilliant about it, just like what I think is brilliant about the liberty movement and the free state movement and these movements, is the decentralized nature of them. There is no central node that they can take out to stop it, right? Bitcoin cannot be stopped by any government that wants to put an end to it because it is everywhere. It's on so many devices. There's no central authority that you can stop. So that is what's encouraging to me. And I think a decentralized revolution in money is what's going to finally bring down the central bankers.
I agree. I just wanted to say real quick too. Yeah, free the Crypto 7. Absolutely. Free the samurai guys. Writing privacy software is not a crime. We need way more attention brought to this. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Free all political prisoners.
Yeah, free all political prisoners. Absolutely. Free Dexter Taylor. All of them. We have a slide at the beginning. If you see it at the beginning in the intro, all of our list of political prisoners of who needs to be freed. So, all right, back to you, Ryan. Does sound money create more freedom than government managed money?
Absolutely. I believe quite fully and quite succinctly that money is nothing more than a universal tool for storing wealth and value. And if a government is allowed to control that money supply and to arbitrarily inflate it to the point where the money that you're saving today, if you save $1 today, you have 50 cents tomorrow, that kind of thing, absolutely reduces the incentive to inquire, to participate in society. It reduces the incentive to contribute value. It reduces the incentive to actually be a productive member of today's society. Earlier today, I was talking about the culture of nihilism, the culture of people just giving up. And it's largely due to these government institutions that play with vital institutions or vital aspects of society, like money, like wealth, like value. And money is how we measure that value in today's society. So I fully believe that money free of government or arbitrary bureaucratic control is the path forward to creating a freer people, which is why I encourage people to divest in the dollar, to create their own parallel economic systems, to trade in goods or with Bitcoin whenever they can, and to store that wealth in a way that works for them and not for the state.
Absolutely. All right, Luke, to you. Is cryptocurrency doing more to expand financial freedom than traditional banking?
is cryptocurrency doing more to expand financial freedom
Financial freedom than traditional banking.
than traditional banking? Well, I would say so. Way more people use the traditional financial system than cryptocurrency. So, in one sense, way more people are on board with that. But the word you used was freedom, and so sure, maybe more people are using traditional political currency. However, are they using it freely? And so that's where I think that becomes a much tougher answer. So I would say that Bitcoin is the future. I would even go so further to say Bitcoin specifically when compared to other cryptocurrencies, because to your point about centralization and decentralization, at the end of the day, there are millions of different cryptocurrencies one could buy. Really, there's only 100 or so of with any material value at all. But the thing that makes Bitcoin different, like you guys both pointed out, was its decentralized nature. And so while there are centralized crypto tokens that maybe are interesting or not interesting, depending on if they go up or down, mostly down, at the end of the day, they are centralized. And if it can be centralized, it will be centralized. And so, like you guys both said, Bitcoin uniquely, more to your question of cryptocurrency, I would say Bitcoin, more than any other financial system, is bringing freedom to a whole lot of people around the world. And so, I think when it comes down to the human cost with all this, there are billions of people that don't have access to bank accounts. There are billions of people that are not making a whole lot of money. Most of the world's adults make less than $30 a day. There's hundreds of millions of people that use France's currency, even though the French people themselves don't use it. There are billions of people that use China's currency, billions of people that use America's currency. And the continuation of that currency is dependent on the poorest members of that network being stolen from at the fastest rate. So I would say that, are there more people using cryptocurrency, more specifically Bitcoin, than the traditional fiat means? No, obviously not. It's like probably 500 to 1. Way more people using traditional political currency means. But are you using it freely? I would say in most, if not all cases, not fully freely, even if partially freely. And then beyond that, at the end of the day, what is the longest term, most sustainable system? And I think that something that is decentralized and sustainable is far better for human life and human freedom than something that is centralized. And so maybe, even in the most generous case, maybe, and this is why I think so many people get wrong about Bitcoin versus political currencies, that even if your political currency is fine today, even if you have the freedom today, you're not going to forever. It is a matter of time until somebody you don't like takes control of that centralized point of failure. And so I think at the end of the day, it's a great question, but for most people that are on the fence with that Bitcoin or Bitcoin versus crypto versus dollars, I think that is the ultimate end case for Bitcoin. That with any crypto token, if it can be centralized, it will. And with your traditional banking system, even if it's free for you today, if it can be co-opted, eventually will against you.
Definitely agree with that. All right. Back to you, Eric. The category is decentralized finance, commonly known as DeFi. Should Americans be free to lend, borrow, and invest without banks acting as gatekeepers?
Yes. I don't know what. Yeah. I mean, it's your money. It's your property. You should be able to do whatever the hell you want with your property. If I wanted to loan my house to someone, I should be able to loan my house to someone, right? If I want to loan my money to someone, I should be able to loan my money to someone. Whether it's USD or Bitcoin or gold or silver, I should be able to. I should be able to do it however I want. Now, I will say, but of course, you should also recognize, that you accept the risks associated with that. I will say, I did some Bitcoin collateralized loans a few years back that were really helpful for a time. Helped pay for some healthcare that my family needed, and it was through a platform called Celsius. That did not turn out well when the Bitcoin price dropped and the whole platform kind of went under. But I knew that I had accepted the risk associated with that, and I did learn a lesson too about. I had some crypto there. I was like, wow, I was getting some nice interest rates on some of these things. But of course, I knew that the interest rates I was getting in a system that's not backed by, FDIC, insurance to kind of prop up, the fiat Ponzi schemes that they've got going on. I knew that those interest rates that I was receiving was because there was risk involved. So as all happened, I channeled my inner stoic. I found my Zen. I said, Eric, you accepted the risk. Thank goodness you did not have all your Bitcoin there, just some of your Bitcoin there. So yeah, you should be able to do what you want with your money, loan it out however you want, but you also need to accept the risk associated with that. You should not turn around to the government and expect a bailout for things that you put your money into that don't turn out the way that you hoped for. That is, of course, what is gone so wrong in our traditional financial system. Our banks are too big to fail. When the Ponzi scheme starts to unravel, they just go to the government. They get hundreds of billions. I guess next time it'll happen, it'll be trillions. It'll be hundreds of trillions. Who knows? And this creates kind of the whole moral hazard of our entire financial system. So if we want real freedom in our financial system, you need to be free to do what you want with your money, provided you accept the outcome and the consequences of your decisions. You accept the risk, and you don't get to offload that risk onto the taxpayers.
Totally agree. All right, Ryan, to you. Can decentralized finance create a fairer financial system than traditional banking?
I believe that it can. And as I've stated previously, the current banking system and the fiat system as it currently is, as I've stated previously, it offers no incentive to save any of the value that they're accruing. By divesting in that currency and seeking alternative forms of storing your wealth, you actually have a chance to build that wealth and to actually secure a future for yourself, your family, etc. I encourage everyone to do that. I encourage everyone to seek what is best for them to store that wealth, and I encourage them to divest in institutions and societal fiat currency, those kinds of things, that infrastructure to the best of their ability in order to secure that future for themselves and their family and loved ones.
All right. Luke, to you. Is decentralized finance one of the biggest threats to centralized economic control?
Is decentralized finance one of the biggest threats to centralized economic control? I suppose the trouble with the question is I don't really know exactly what you mean by decentralized finance. So to me, when I've seen most people discuss decentralized finance over the last 5 years or so, most of the time, if not all the time, I've seen people discuss that it's actually been centralized finance disguised as decentralized finance. Unfortunately,
That's not me, brother. That's not me.
Right. No, I know it's not you, but the Celsius example, and I'm really sorry to hear that, but that was one of the infamous examples where because they have the branding of blockchain and crypto and decentralized, whatever people assume is different. I think that's a real problem. When it comes to legitimate decentralized finance, it's actually legitimately decentralized. I would say again, Bitcoin is uniquely far and away in that category. And so to your question of if it could be more free and fair than centralized finance, I think it can be. And I think that's the key. I think building something that's decentralized is way more important than building something that is centralized, or than tearing down something that's centralized. And I think a great example for that is taking the French as an example. So France has roughly 68 million people in their country. They use the euro, but they still have the French franc, and the French franc is used by 210 million people across 14 different countries in Africa. And so it's easy for me as a wealthy American sitting here with a microphone in my hand and pig in my belly and a lake behind me to say that, oh, well, that's not fair that the French get to devalue the currency of a fifth of a billion Africans, 2, 3, 5% a year to basically enrich themselves back in France, right? That seems really, really wrong. But of course, the problem is if you got rid of France, you would have a whole bunch of smaller countries and smaller governments and frankly, warlords in some cases that would take over, right? That's largely the excuse why the French have that there. And so my point is that decentralization in name only is not decentralization, and the true key to that freedom of the future that you're asking in your question comes in legitimate decentralized finance. So long answer short is that yes, if it is legitimately decentralized, then absolutely is far better for everybody in the network, in particular those at the lowest rung of the ladder of said network, which are the poorest people in that system.
All right. Back to you, Eric. The category is agorism and counter economics. Is counter economics a peaceful revolution hiding in plain sight.
I don't know what counter economics means.
Counter economics, as in like direct action through black markets and gray markets.
Like the Silk Road.
Yep.
That Ross Ulbricht went to jail for. Yeah, well, I guess this is a great actually opportunity to plug the Free State Project, because in the Free State of New Hampshire, it's all about building parallel institutions that will that people can opt into and that will one day replace state institutions. So we got people on the political path doing the work of like passing school choice laws and getting rid of income taxes and things like that, and weakening these state monopoly institutions and creating space for parallel institutions to exist. But it's not enough to weaken the state institutions, right? Because, you know, to some degree, those state institutions are there for a reason. They do serve a purpose. It's just we want voluntary institutions to replace them. Well, we've got to build those voluntary institutions. We've got to build the homeschool networks. We've got to build the farm networks. We've got to build the alternate currency networks. We've got to build all of these parallel institutions. If we want to do the like in Indiana Jones, right? You want to swap out the totem there with a new thing to counterbalance it, so the trap doesn't go. Though in his case, the trap still did go off. So I don't know. That's a perfect analogy, but that's kind of the idea, right? So yes, it's very important, if you call that counter economics, building parallel institutions, building voluntarist institutions. That's what we are doing every single day in the free state of New Hampshire, and it is vital to building a free society and transitioning away from a state of society into a free society. You need these parallel institutions.
Just a quick shout out. If somebody wants to get Eric a birthday present, a Samuel Edward Conklin book would be excellent. SEK3. He's the counter economics guy. So
all right,
that'd be a good one.
I will also accept donations to the Free State Project at fsp.org.
That would also work. And also sign up for his newsletter. He's got the clipboard here. Do all of the things. Get the passport, all the things he's been talking about over here. I want to see him in New Hampshire soon myself. So
it sounds like I'm purchasing him on a Gore's primer, as well as the new Libertarian Manifesto after this is done.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be a good ad. Awesome. All right. To you, Ryan. Are black markets usually created by bad laws instead of bad people?
They are most certainly created by bad laws. And what I mean by that is that there is a misconception in society that vices are somehow crimes. If the individual themselves are making the decision to purchase or to participate in some sort of thing that only harms themselves, I don't see a point for making it illegal. A consenting adult can do whatever they'd like to their own body, and that is their decision, essentially. It might not be a good decision. I don't think they should serve jail time or be fined as a result of that decision. That being said, black markets arise when unjust laws are put into place, and justly so. The market always prevails. Just ask Soviet Russia how that went. And again, vices are not crimes. Those laws are unjust, and black markets will exist when unjust laws are enacted to restrict the rights of people to do what they want with their own bodies and their own property.
Totally. Absolutely. All right, Luke, to you. Is building alternatives outside of government more effective than trying to reform government?
I would 100% agree with that. I've actually kind of alluded that in a couple of my answers now. But yes, if the question is building an alternate system more effective than trying to reform the system, I would absolutely agree with that. And this is one of the reasons why I focus virtually all of my efforts on accelerating Bitcoin instead of dealing with the political shenanigans. Not that I don't have respect for the people that are advocating for the right thing within the political system. But yes, I believe building something that is stable is a lot better than trying to delay the instability of something that's unstable. Which is, again, why I think Bitcoin is really, really, really important, because it has so many second, third, and fourth order effects for many people over the course of the next few decades as it becomes adopted, and theoretically for centuries longer if it continues to remain decentralized and secure. So yes, I would definitely align with that, and that's why I think it's really important to help individuals, companies, and churches and anyone else begin to adopt Bitcoin, because the base case for the U.S. government and the base case for America's political currency system is either it all collapses and dies, or it doesn't collapse and die, but it continues to get weaker, and therefore it gets more likely that it collapses and dies. And I'm not somebody that thinks that the system as it is today is going anywhere anytime soon, frankly. And a lot of people call me a pessimist for saying that, but I think it's just the truth, and I think that's why it's really important we focus on building the thing that is sustainable. And beyond that, too, if I could say one more thing with that, is that not only do I think it's more effective, but I think it's just better for the person's individual life. I think it's better to focus on just being an optimist on something that's going to work than trying to fight against the pessimism, if you're honest with yourself, about trying to save something that that can't be saved. So yes, I would definitely agree with that statement. Building something that's new and sustainable is better than finding something that isn't. So, and I would argue that Bitcoin is the main manifestation of that worldview, I hope.
Absolutely.
And could I add a little bit?
Yeah.
If I may, I believe that people get caught up in the political solution far too much that they forget that there's also a cultural component to not only living the lifestyle that we're trying to, we preach about so much, but also creating a culture and community that can actually participate effectively in a political in a political solution, if there is to be one at all. A lot of people talk about voting for liberty in our lifetime. Not a lot of people are living liberty in our lifetime. I see a lot of comments on the internet. I have personal conversations with people that are very upset with how things are, but they don't know their neighbor. They aren't growing food in their backyards, and they aren't acquiring new skills to be self-sufficient to weather the storm of the natural disaster that is the state, government, and their bureaucratic solutions. So I would encourage, much in the same vein of that answer, I would encourage people to actually participate in the cultural solution if they are to participate in the political solution at all. I believe that liberty in our lifetime is right here at home, as you can see.
I agree. All right. Enter your scores in the chat if you haven't done so already. Please share this out again. And I just wanted to piggyback and say, Luke, I was telling you earlier, one of us. You're one of us. Parallel systems. I love it.
One of us.
Yeah.
One of us.
Exactly.
What's the thing they say in the movie after that? It's like they get into some weird shit. It's like Google gobble. One of us. I don't know.
I kind of brought it down.
Yeah. All right.
Birthday boy. All right. Let's check out the chat. Phil's got 100 to Ren Bribbles because he's cute. 82 as I ain't doing the math. Well, you got to give it to somebody, Mike. 100 to the dog. We need to make the dog win. Minus 50
Dog's
to the
not even here
politician
anymore.
for pointing out that he was a politician. That's fair.
So I get deducted for honesty.
Yeah, that's how.
So politicians are.
That's
all
how,
right.
The
Well,
only
politicians are
honest
supposed
thing
to.
a politician has said in 2026 cost him points. Is really what happened there.
Yeah.
We got 500 points if they rename the dog Floyd. 100 to the person who let go of the dog's leash and let him free. Anarchist Chefs here. What's up, buddy? Are there gators in that lake? No, we're in Michigan. We're very far north. Terry counted Eric's last answer as his filibuster. That was the one that went on for a while that I made fun of before. Williams here. What's up, buddy? Another subscriber. Xano rocks. I agree with you. No gators. We are in Michigan. All right, Amity answered that question for me. Anarchist Chef says, I missed the AI green screen backdrops. Yeah, this is not a green screen. This is, I'm going to drop my laptop.
As real
This
as
is
it
the
gets.
Real deal. Yep. All right. I did that without harming anyone or my gear. Excellent. 200 points to Larry Sharp for still answering a question from a previous show. Hey, y'all, what's the weather like in Canada today? I think we're like 15 minutes south of Canada or something. Like, is that something like that?
It's not smoky today.
Yeah, it's not smoky. Canada must not be on fire right now. 200 free Ross points to Eric. More points for free Ian. 200 pump and dump points to Eric. 100 to Eric for mentioning Ian. Minus 100 to Eric for voting for Trump. That's totally fair. 200 for the first person who says intentional communities.
Intentional communities.
There we go. Funny thing is, I have that category. We're never going to make it to it, but I have that category tonight. 200 to me for great questions and categories. That must be a typo. 200 to Ryan, build parallel systems. 94 to Ryan for based Agarist takes. And hello from Benzonia. That sounds like you need a topical ointment for that. Benzonia.
That is a place in Michigan, and it's a beautiful country. Yep, Northwest.
Benzonia.
Northwest.
That sounds like an ailment. 200 to Luke for his pragmatic answers. 200 to Luke, death to fiat currencies. My buddy Jake Days here on YouTube. 200 for parallel systems. 200 more for System of a Down. I don't know who that was to though. 200 to Eric, do whatever the hell you want with your property. 99 to Luke for having the best knees on the show. Yeah, we're featuring a lot of Luke knees right now. 200 to Eric, brilliant answer, brilliant DeFi answer, well done, sir. 200 to Ryan for the cape and for his cryptocurrencies DeFi answer. 1 to Zano with the current rates of appreciation. I expect that to grow quickly. I'm laughing through the answer here. All right. Free Ian, yes, all political prisoners. Oh, I brought that up. Where did I put it? I put all the political prisoners here. Yeah, we've got the now I have the comments on here and you can't see part of it, but we have them all on here. The Samurai guys, Ian, Ray Youssef, we have them all on here. So yeah, free them all. Shouldn't have done that because now I can't figure out where I am. Still not a green screen. All right. -2 to Ryan because I can. That's my 100. I don't know who. Do you know who this is? Who is it? Super noob N64. Yeah. There's some flirting going on here. I'll do matchmaker later on here. Or Amity, get on this. Figure out who Super Noob is. 200 free state project points to Eric. 123 to Eric for building all of the things except for the roads. 200 points to Ryan's black markets. 200 to Ryan for the Agarist primer. 200 points to Luke for avoiding political shenanigans. 100 to Ryan, vices aren't subject to law. 100 again to the dog. The dog's getting a lot of points. 100 to the guy, obviously walking by the lake while you're filming. We had a lot of stuff going on back here and stuff. Somebody needs to go down the slide. That would be cool. There's a slide right there. Yeah, somebody needs to go
I've done it.
Yeah.
It's a good slide. There's some diving boards over there too. You can't see. Those are even better.
I think I got the diving boards. There's diving boards back there. It's pretty sweet. It looks like it's got legit bounce. It looks like 1970s diving boards.
It's got some real bounce.
Yeah. 10 to Ryan for not being afraid to drink during the show. And 200 to Ryan, parallel systems and networks, vote with your wallet. Oh, my buddy Marcus is here from the Black Powder Podcast. 100 to Eric, good dude.
Hey, Marcus, good to hear from you.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I can't see. I was gonna say good to see you.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't go that far. It's Marcus. You don't have to kiss up to him. Yeah.
I am a politician.
Yeah. All right, let's check the scoreboard. Ryan in the lead, 45-98. Eric just behind, 48 points behind. Oh, it's really close.
Wow.
And Luke's right there at 45-02. And Dog/Floyd has 500 points.
Did I get those points for saying intentional communities?
You'll have to,
All right.
You'll have to sue the FEC or whatever. The dog's name's George, right? I don't think we renamed the dog.
So the dog's a spoiler candidate. Is that what I'm hearing here?
That's what it is. The dog is the APAC candidate, and somebody's injected $30 million to getting the dog to win the show tonight.
That dog is a sweetheart. It deserves a win.
All right. Let's get back into it here. Let's go a little faster, if you don't mind. And Eric, that's you first. So you have to focus and channel it. All right. Categories: policing technology. Does policing technology outpace the laws meant to control it?
Yeah. Yes. You said you want a quick answer, right?
Well, I mean, you can say stuff. Just like when you get to the point where you find yourself needing water, just stop there.
I'm already thirsty.
Yeah.
All right. So the question was, does the repeat the question, please?
Oh my Lord. Does policing technology outpace the laws meant to control it?
I mean, I would imagine so. I mean, it's like all technology, right? The everything develops faster than the laws can imagine them, and certainly, I don't know. What are we dealing with? I mean, what are we dealing with policing technology? I mean, I guess when I think about a lot of the policing technology, I think about a lot of like the militarization of the police, but that's a lot of the federal government sending excess military equipment like Bearcats down to our local police forces that we don't need. But I think one thing that's kind of interesting, and because kind of the law enforcement kind of played an Uno reverse card on us, which was like the body cams, right? We thought that the body cams were going to be this great thing to kind of help us like make sure we're holding the police accountable, but instead it's just like become a way that the police like, record all of us, and then that becomes kind of permanent record on us. And then when we want to see like the video of like police doing bad things, like we're not allowed to see it. So it does kind of seem like a law with good intentions that is still being perverted against the people. So, yeah, this is why we probably need to find ways to have voluntary solutions to provide security and policing in our communities rather than relying on government monopolies overall.
I liked how you wound up for that answer by leading all the way back, and it's like you went like Fernando Valenzuela into that.
He's preparing for karaoke after this.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
I am, in fact, planning to do karaoke, and if you were here in person, you would get to hear it. But if you're online, you don't. Sorry, you got to come next year.
Yeah,
there's still time to get here.
Drive fast. Speed laws are suggestions. Just drive fast. All right, Ryan, to you. Should police be allowed to use facial recognition in public places?
Absolutely not. Honestly, again, to go back to my earlier commentary, especially with the flock cameras that they state are just license plate readers. They do more than that. They can actually, they're just a software update away from being able to have facial recognition capability. Not only that, they detect dents, dings, color, make, model, and track your vehicle. It can look at the occupants inside the car. I don't think they should have access to this technology. As I've stated previously, these private companies that are facilitating the propagation of that technology, they have no incentive to create safer communities. They have every incentive to just put up the infrastructure, and it will be abused by governments, even if the current governments putting them up have good intentions and only plan them to use them a certain way. That doesn't stop the next administration. That does not stop the slow creep towards tyranny.
Totally agree. All right, Luke, to you. Is mass surveillance worth the loss of personal privacy?
I think mass surveillance trends towards mass control, so I would say no. It does not usurp that, right? Maybe some people might be able to make the case for a short period of time, but it doesn't stay forever. I mean, this is a debate currently going on right now with El Salvador, right? Because they entered into martial law a few years ago. Obviously, there's the whole Bitcoin side of that too. But in reference to what you're talking about, a lot of people and a lot of locals in El Salvador were extremely favorable to Bukele when he did that. And to his credit, he did the right thing in getting rid of the cartels instead of emboldening them or profiting off them. But of course, the trouble is now we're 3, 4, 5 years later, and he hasn't relinquished those emergency powers yet. And so it's yet to be what happens there. But I think that's a real life example where we're going to see what happens. Even if you have the benevolent dictator, kind of like how you have with Bukele, it's a matter of time until something goes wrong. So I would say that on the short run, some people might argue that possibly it's beneficial. But again, I think the problem is if you're looking over a long enough time horizon, eventually it trends to back to where it wasn't worth it in the first place. So I would be very critical of that. Yes.
I agree. Anybody else need a water? They might not be cold.
I do just want to say, if anyone wants to dock me points for looking at my phone, I was retweeting the live stream of this show, so
I appreciate.
I should get points for that.
Nothing in the chat so far. Nothing
all right.
So far for that. Oh, we got cold waters too. If anybody needs a cold water. All right. Well, Joe's got cold ones. Do you want a cold one? All right. Back to you, Eric. Oh, this category is brought to us by our friends at Zoom Beyond Shrooms. Check out zoomtrip.com. xumtrip.com. There may or may not be some here on site tonight, and they're a good time. All right, so
You
Eric,
should point me to who that is because it is my birthday.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm joking.
Eric, the category is drug decriminalization.
All right.
Would decriminalization allow police to focus on violent crime?
Well, now here's the thing. I think that we often actually treat drug decriminalization as if it's like a stepping stone to legalization. But what I've seen is that in some cases, it seems like drug decriminalization maintains the whole black market apparatus. I think we just need to be pushing for full legalization on a lot of these things. Because part of the problem of maintaining kind of with decriminalization and maintaining the black market structure is that you still have a system where people don't have recourse in courts. You still have the same propensity for violence. You still have the same kind of propensity for a lot of the same problems that come along. So anyway, I just want to be on the record. I say, go for full legalization, not just decriminalization on a lot of these things. But certainly, if the whole kind of idea is just getting kind of government out of the war on drugs in the first place, if that's kind of the focal point of the question, then yes, right. We're talking about victimless offenses. We're talking about vices, and as I think my friend here said, well, a vice, whatever we might think about it, whatever we may say morally about it, a vice is at worst an offense against yourself. And if you own yourself, you have an absolute right to create an offense against yourself, to do something that might not be in your own long-term interest, right? The state is supposed to be in a position to defend and protect against crime, which is an offense against someone else's life, liberty, or property. Now, we have labeled a lot of vices as crimes, and this is, of course, totally perverts what our whole criminal justice system is supposed to be oriented towards, right? We have police officers going after people. It used to be cannabis. We've been making a lot of success in the legalization of cannabis around the country. I'm very proud to have played a role with that with both medical and adult use in Maine. In fact, I will say to this day, I think Maine has the best medical cannabis laws in the country, and I'm very proud to have written those laws. But we still have this in place for so many other drug offenses that we should really be having the state focus on actual crimes. If we are going to have state law enforcement, let's focus on protecting life, liberty, and property. Let's leave people on their own. And of course, it is the drug laws themselves that have created kind of the spiral of these drugs getting worse and worse. It is the war on drugs itself that has led to fentanyl working its way into our drug system to now, if you're even getting black market cannabis, you don't know if it's cut with fentanyl. You don't know fentanyl's in everything. And it's because of the black market. It's because of the war on drugs that has kind of made these the drug cartels looking for more and more ways to smuggle in harsher and harsher stuff. So, and the war on drugs, yes, let's put the police on protecting life, liberty, and property. If we have police, that's what they should be doing.
I agree. All right. To you, Ryan, has the war on drugs caused more damage than drug use itself?
Oh, absolutely. Not only has it prevented people from getting the help that they actually need, because addiction, a lot of people say that it's a choice. Initially, it is. But I like to ask the question, what is that substance protecting you from? A lot of people, you don't get to get this far in life and not be messed up by something that happened to you. Unfortunately, some people's solution to that is to slap a Band-Aid on it and do drugs about it, unfortunately. And we've focused so much on the consumption of the drug that we don't focus enough on getting them the adequate help that they need. And throwing them in prison or fining them for possession is not the way to do that. It just adds more pain and suffering to their lives. So I take a human approach to this. I think that there should be no written record of any sort of laws that control these substances. I think communities should adequately police this. We used to have community technology where we cared about our neighbors. We checked on them. We made sure that they were okay. This life is hard. This life is difficult. We all go through problems, and addiction is something that people turn to when they don't have community to back them up, when they don't feel safe in their own homes, in their own skin, when they feel like they don't have anyone that is there to help them out. So I believe in removing this law so people can actually get the help that they need, so they don't feel like a pariah in the society. Rather, they feel actually comfortable getting the help that they need to get away from that.
I agree. All right, Luke, to you. Has arresting drug users made America safer?
I don't think it has. I agree a lot with what has been said with the previous two answers. So I don't think that criminalizing drug use has made America a lot safer. I mean, there's a horrible number of deaths with the fentanyl crisis. There's a horrible amount of death with the cartels and everything else. For me, myself, I obviously, or maybe not obviously, but for me, I don't use these drugs, or I don't engage in these vices personally. But like has been said before, I think so much of the involvement from the state has actually ironically made the problem worse. I believe in separation of church and state, and I'm a Christian, so I'm very passionate about the church, in particular my local church. And so the irony is that we're in a world right now, we're in a country right now where the state gets more and more powerful, and the church is less and less relevant in people's lives. And so it's very interesting and ironic here, and it shouldn't be a surprise that for so many people, the state is their church, right? Especially for those that are exceedingly politically involved. When you don't have the church, that's what gets filled up. And so many people are very quick to yell and scream when the state does anything from a religious perspective, because separation of church and state, but people are forgetting that the church also has a role. And so like what you were saying with communities, I would say the word I would use would be church. And not everyone goes to church, not everyone's a Christian, but in large part I agree with that. And so anyway, to your question of has it actually made the country safer? No, I would say it hasn't. And even if it has in some small segments of the country, even if it has in some different ways, I think that violence has just been translated to somewhere else. And so on the whole, maybe somebody can make the case with some data point. I'm not naive enough to say that doesn't exist, but I think on the whole, it's not been worth it at all. And I think the data for that is pretty clear.
Drugs won the war on drugs.
That's true. That's true. All right. Back to you, Eric. This category is government overreach. Shout out to our friends at You Are the Power. They do amazing work fighting government overreach. You can donate to them at youarethepower.net/donate. Eric, the question is shrinking government the fastest path towards building more freedom?
Well, they're kind of like the yin and the yang, right? The more space government occupies, the less freedom you have, right? Freedom is kind of the absence of the state, bossing you around in your economic affairs, in your personal private affairs. And I know, I guess to that point, I often we could look at the welfare system. I think there's oftentimes a lot of skepticism that if we shrank the welfare system, that people tell me, well, how would we take care of the poor? How would we take care of people who are less fortunate and less well off? Well, we used to have private charitable institutions that did a pretty good job of these things, right? And then we started building up these government programs, and it changes the culture and the expectation of what we are responsible for as human beings and members of our communities. And we start to think, boy, I pay my taxes. Government is supposed to take care of these things. Of course, government does a piss poor job of taking care of these things. Government creates systems that, rather than helping people get on paths to self-sufficiency, government creates systems, whether by accident or design, I sometimes think it's by design, that traps people into cycles of poverty, that counts success by how many people do you get enrolled in these welfare programs, not how many people do you get off of these welfare programs. And if you are stuck on welfare, you can never be truly free. So whether it's the welfare programs or anything else, government crowds out private voluntary institutions. So by shrinking these government institutions and shrinking the space that they occupy, we create more space for freedom and for voluntary institutions.
Definitely. All right, Ryan, to you. Is Washington trying to control too many parts of everyday life?
I think that the federal government has long overstepped its welcome. In its inception, I believe its only intention was to protect the national borders and not have much control over dubious national policy. The short answer is absolutely yes. I believe that the government should be as local as possible. I believe that the federal government should have no say as to what my laws here in Michigan are, and it should be beholden if a constitution is to be is a constitution is essentially like it restricts what a government can do. It should be beholden to that document, though it is long since failed. I suggest that you just do it anyways. But the federal government needs to be reined in. Government needs to be as local as possible, and the federal government needs to be shrunk to the furthest extent possible. Their only purpose, if there is to be one, is to protect the borders, and they don't even do that good of a job doing that. And I'm not saying immigration or anything like that. I'm talking like the illegal wars, basically causing problems globally, all that good stuff. So,
all right, Luke, to you. Has the federal government become too powerful?
Yes, I think they've become too powerful. I think the trouble is, how do you rein that in, right? I suppose building off your questions, I think it's very difficult to rein in without some kind of violence or traumatic event, which is again why I believe building parallel systems is far more important than criticizing or trying to tear down the one that exists. But yes, of course, I believe they are far too powerful, and I'm afraid that looking over the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years, they're going to get far more powerful because these technologies, like we talked about earlier, are centralizing forces. AI is an incredibly centralizing force. And so, I think that a lot of people on the left and the right that argue about how things should be reallocated and who's right and who's wrong, I think a lot of these people don't even realize that they're actually continuing to strengthen the centralized system, and ironically, they're giving even more power to the government. I think if people instead focused on the thing that would work, which is something that's built on rock instead of built on sand, I think ironically that would be very helpful. So yes, of course, I think it's powerful, but what are we actually going to do about it so we can win and not just talk about it? I think we build something new that grows in power over time, not from the threat of trying to tear them down, but just if it is more stable and it survives, it is inevitably going to be more powerful than something that is more powerful today but has a shorter half-life, so to speak.
All right. Last 3 questions of the night.
All right.
So if you haven't put your scores in, put them in now. All right. The question is to Eric. Category is the future of liberty. Can America become more free without major constitutional reforms?
No. I don't see America becoming more free. I don't think that is the course that we're on. I don't see anything to indicate that things are going to get better in America. Things are going to continue to get worse. We are stuck in a pendulum that of a false binary choice. Every election cycle, you get the Republican or you get the Democrat, and they're all different flavors of the war machine on the federal level. And Donald Trump has proven that true, very sadly, and very unfortunately. I don't see things getting better in America. I do see things getting better, however, in the free state of New Hampshire. And the one thing I think that we as libertarians need to contend and wrestle with is that there are not enough of us to turn things around in America. Yes, this country was founded on libertarian ideas. Yes, the Declaration of Independence is a libertarian document, and that is the mission statement of America. But over the last 10 generations, that spirit of 1776 has dissipated in the culture around us, and we libertarians are a very small minority. Most people around us who are politically active want to use authoritarian means to crush their neighbors. And I empathize and sympathize with them to some degree because they're being manipulated by the machine itself, by the corporate media that kind of promotes all the propaganda of the war machine and all of this. They are victims in all of it too. But we are such a small minority. We are not going to turn this around through democratic means on a national level. But the brilliance of the Free State Project concentration strategy is a recognition that there are, in fact, millions of libertarians in this country. We are just dissipated. We are dispersed around this country. We don't exist in a singular concentration to make an impact on the culture and the politics around us. But if we gather together in one place with an existing libertarian ethic, we can at least carve out one space that is a libertarian homeland, a free state for us. And that's why the Free State Project exists. And that's why I don't think America's getting better, but New Hampshire is getting better. And I encourage all liberty lovers out there to go to fsp.org, connect with us, sign up for our at very least, just sign up for our email newsletter, hear about opportunities to come and visit and see what's being built in New Hampshire for yourself. And maybe if you want to be a part of it, maybe one day you'll move there and join us. So once you give up hope that America itself is going to turn around in your lifetime and you recognize we're not going to achieve liberty in our lifetime in America as a whole, recognize we can at least achieve liberty in our lifetime in New Hampshire and come build it with us.
All right. I like it. All right, Ryan, to you. Is the next generation likely to be freer than this one?
I'd say, by and large, to Eric's point, there is a culture of authoritarianism in the United States, and it is only getting worse. And I believe that, to kind of piggyback off of the question that was asked of Eric, I believe that the libertarian solution has, by and large, been to opine philosophically and not actually connect with people in their communities. The entire point of the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival, in my estimation, the reason why I'm involved, is to get people in the same place and give them an opportunity to connect with people to free themselves where they are. So, by and large, yes, I believe that things are going to become less free and people are going to be, oppressed a lot more in the United States. But locally, there are going to be holdouts. And one of those holdouts is the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. And I would invite everyone that can't move to New Hampshire and is in the Midwest to look us up, come here, meet new friends, and create our own enclaves, because you can be more free. Mark Baker would like to kind of push back on the idea that everything I want to do is illegal. A lot of the things that you want to do are legal. You've just been convinced that they're not. So meet your neighbor, come to the Midwest Peace and Liberty Fest if you're in your neighborhood, and actually build something with the people at home instead of just opining about it.
All right. Love the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. Last question of the night to you, Luke. Will technology expand freedom more than politics over the next decade?
I would say yes. I think technology will expand freedom more than politics over the next decade. I would say that everything in life has a trade-off, and the trade-off of that is that technology will also restrict freedoms more than politics over the next decade. Now, of course, you could argue that it's politics that'll restrict that, but even if it's not a politician doing it, it's going to be some criminal, it's going to be some corporation, it's going to be somebody else. Power vacuum is not only taken advantage of by politicians, but anyone doing evil or anyone being nefarious. So something I've said for years is that we have less in common with the near future than the past, and I believe that is very, very, very true. There's more change in the next iteration of time than the previous 10 iterations of time. This has been true for thousands of years now. So, for example, like my grandmother was born in 1932, and here she is alive today watching YouTube videos of me online talking about Bitcoin, right? It's like she didn't know what air conditioning was. She didn't know what, she couldn't envision airplanes, radio was barely a thing, So I guess my point is that most people, I think, should assume that the world as it is today is not going to exist in 20 years, 50 years, pick your number. It's definitely in your lifetime. And so I think this is the number one mistake people make when it comes to Bitcoin. I think it's the number one mistake people make when it comes to the general topics of liberty and everything else, is that the rate of change is the only constant. And so whether you're an optimist or pessimist, the world as you know it is not going to be the same that your kids are going to have, right? And so the question becomes, which of those routes are you going to make? So to answer your question, yes, I think technology is going to bring a lot of freedom that politics can't. But the trade-off of that is that it's far more dangerous than it's ever been. We look at today with all the infringements of rights today, and I guess just to close the one thought, this whole panel, one of my favorite places I've gone in all my Bitcoin conferences is actually in Boston, because in Boston you can actually look at the harbor where the Boston Tea Party actually happened, and it's fascinating to me about how you see the little Boston Tea Party Museum. I don't know if anyone's been there, but highly encourage you to see it if you ever make it out to Boston. And it's amazing to me to think about how these people that were, standing up for what they believed was right, were fighting a king thousands of miles away with wooden ships powered by wind with cannons, right? And yet the irony now is that one of the modern Federal Reserve buildings is literally catty corner to where this little museum is, living in the shadow of this, 15-story building, whatever, right? And my point in that story is that the people back then, they could not envision a 15-story building, and that's where we are here today. And I think that really, no matter what somebody believes, if they actually look at the math, they should accept that the world as it is today is going to be totally different in 50 years. And so the question is, if we are just like those people in the 1770s at the Boston Tea Party, what is our next quote-unquote Federal Reserve building? And to me, that's the real concern, that yes, there are infringements today. Yes, the state is powerful today, but how powerful is the state, whether it's America or some other country or something else we can't even imagine yet? What's that power going to look like in 50 years? And so I guess that's my encouragement for everyone here and everyone watching at home, is not only thinking about how can you be protecting liberties today for our generation, the people alive today, but educating your kids, your children, the next generation that, hey, just so you know, and really work with them and help them understand that they are growing up in a world that is not going to be the same by the time that they are your age. And whether you're an optimist or a pessimist, that's true. Maybe you're somebody that thinks, the global reptilian people are going to nuke the world in 24 months, or maybe you're somebody that thinks that, nothing changes. But either way, the world as we know it is going to be totally different. So I guess that's why I encourage all my Bitcoin folks to think about, and that's what I encourage anybody to think about, is to help your kids understand that, because I think that's one of the most overlooked things in the world today, is helping people understand that, because in any given year it feels the same, but compounded out over decades, it is going to be very, very, very different. So
Awesome. All right. That's the end of it. Enter your scores in the chat one last time. Tell us what you thought of the show. Tell us who you thought won. Retweet it if you think people would enjoy the replay. And, oh, wait, we're being hijacked like Spike hijacked Freedom Fest. Amity is now hijacking the comments for the last time here. All right, you got to read these, right?
Okay.
So here we go.
Where do I look? Oh, okay. Dan has 25,000 points to who makes the scoreboard.
That's Casey. All right.
Tony, 100 points to Eric for going down the slide.
Yeah, you got points for going on the slide.
David gives 100 points to Ryan for being awesome. Fight gives another 100 points to Ryan for making this weekend happen.
Great weekend. Nikki's here.
Nikki's here. What's
Excellent.
up? Rainbow Too Bright, 10 points to Eric for the hot guy walking behind him during the police surveillance question. Rob gives 200 points to Floyd for Eric's long, short answer about police tech. Liberty Shamrocker, 100 points to Ryan, no access to facial recognitions, it's tyranny. Dan gives 182 to Ryan, slow creep towards tyranny. William's here, what's up? 200 to Ryan, no flock cameras, F the flock.
Chuck's here.
Chuck money, 100 for driving faster to make it in time for karaoke.
That's fair.
Marcus, what's up, my favorite libertarian? 100 to Eric for moving slightly westward toward the real liberty here in Southern California. I don't know about that.
That sucks.
100,
I can't read that.
100 points to Ryan for being so gosh darn handsome.
Yeah, Ryan's getting like all sorts of flirting.
You have fans.
Ryan's like our boy band guy tonight. That's what's going on.
Liberty Shamrocker gives 100 to Eric for retweeting. 200
you.
to Eric for asking for Zoom for his birthday. 100 points to Ryan for Jordan for his baby girl. 200 to Eric for writing cannabis laws, but minus 13 for being a politician. Marcus gives, I support black market because of free. 100 to Eric.
Yeah, that's fair.
200 to Eric for ending the war on drugs. 200 to Eric, I changed the terminology to poison from. 100 to Ryan, absolutely drug laws against consumption.
You gotta go
worse.
faster. Go faster.
200 Christian points to Luke.
Go
200
faster.
for the first player to. I can't get that. 100 200 to first player to run and jump in the
Anybody want to jump in the lake? Anybody? Oh, wait. Holy cow.
Chris
Hold on.
is giving 200.
We gotta go. Oh my God.
Well, it's not
Oh
a
my
green
God.
screen.
No, it's not muted. No, stop.
Okay.
That's what, like, you don't even watch the show. You. Oh my
First time anyone's gotten
God.
points
Wait, no, we gotta get the
for jumping.
we gotta get the re-entry. The re-entry. 200 points. Oh, there's water coming out of the shoes. Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right.
Oh,
Ryan, you just gained 100 more fans.
200 points. That was 200 points.
Yep.
I'd like to double it. I have no authority, but I'd like to double it if Terry's listening.
I'm gonna give 100 points to someone who gets me a towel.
Yeah.
Anybody got a towel?
All right.
100 to Luke for the government is some people's church. 200 to Ryan, drugs won the war on drugs. 200 to Ryan, yeah, what he said is better than I could have. Hashtag agorism. 200 to Eric, freedom is the absence of the state. 200 to Eric, ownership vibes, community. 100 to Eric, agorism is the answer, not piss poor government. 100 to Eric, government programs are created to justify its existence. Chris says government doesn't like shrinkage. Eric, quit embarrassing them. 200 points. R says 200 to Eric, you can never be free on welfare. 200 to Ryan for mentioning neighbors. 200 to Ryan, federal government shouldn't trump the stakes. Excuse the pun. Minus 10 to Eric for his pessimism on America. Plus 20 to Eric for recognizing the duopoly is the problem. No gang signs, Luke. Tribalism is anti-libertarian. Plus 100 for being the only white boy to throw gang signs on a game show. 200 to Ryan for spreading the message to free the people where they are. Greetings, my peace and liberty dudes from way up north. That's Andy for liberty. What's up? 100 to Ryan for the Mark Baker shout out.
Awesome guy.
200 Ryan for connecting people and his dedication towards MPLF. 30 to Luke for recognizing the double-edged sword of technology. 100 to Ryan for the best
All right,
overall
go faster,
answers.
Go faster.
200 to Boston Tea
Faster.
Party answers to Luke. 200 to Ryan, bingo, Libertarian Party is not connecting to the people. 200 Ryan for spontaneous swim, LOL. 200 Ryan and the dog. 200 Ryan because I love when he wears the Janis Joplin glasses. Another 200 for actually doing it on live, buddy.
That was badass.
Yeah.
All right. You get to reveal who won here, okay? And we gotta put it on the screen. We got slow your roll. Take a breath. And the winner is
Ryan with 7,200 points. Eric came in second with 7,047. And Luke, 6,532. And George the dog with 1,100 came in fourth.
He's the winner in my book.
all right.
George was the real black horse candidate in this
That
race.
was it. All right,
Or
so
dark horse
give,
candidate, that's
give
what it's
Luke the
called.
microphone. Luke,
Dark
third
horse.
place. First time on the show. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me. Appreciate the invitation out here.
Yeah.
It's fun to meet you all.
Tell the camera where they can find you at and what you're up to.
You can find me online, Luke Broyles, Broyles. I'm on YouTube and Twitter and podcasts. You're going to see me talk a lot more about Bitcoin than libertarian stuff. However, the Venn diagram overlaps quite a lot. So feel free to check me out there. Come here in person next year. We're going to be giving out hundreds of dollars of Bitcoin later. So you should have been here, but you could be here next year, of course, right? So anyway, thank you all for having me. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. The birthday boy, he pulled out all the tricks. He was wearing a ribbon. He did all of the things, but came in second. What'd you think tonight, Eric?
I just think that people should go to fsp.org and you should sign up for our weekly email newsletter. It is the most optimistic and realistic libertarian newsletter you will ever receive. You might find libertarian newsletters that are optimistic, but they are delusional. You might find libertarian newsletters that are realistic and also pessimistic, right? This is the only one that's realistic and optimistic because we have real wins that are happening every single week in the free state of New Hampshire. And as you read it, it's written by me. You'll enjoy it. I'm a good writer. So sign up for it. Get our newsletter. You will not only hear about all the whining of progressive status as the free state movement and libertarians keep winning in New Hampshire. You will also hear about wonderful events that are taking place, opportunities to visit, and it'll just bring a smile to your face. So sign up for the newsletter on fsp.org. And if you are a candidate running for office, whether that's local office or state legislative office, and you would like to win, or you are supporting a candidate who is doing so, please be sure to get the book, The Liberty Candidate's Practical Guide to Door Knocking, by me. It's my 13-rule system for door knocking. It's how I defeated a 36-year Democrat incumbent as a virtual unknown. And I want more Liberty candidates to win, so I made it very affordable. It's only $10 on Amazon.com. Thank you for having me here at the festival. This is truly wonderful. Those who say that like you don't need Pork Fest because you got this, you're wrong. This is wonderful in its own right, and Pork Fest is also wonderful. So people should come visit this next summer, but they should also come to Pork Fest. So thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Real quick, before we go to our champion, we have a comment here. I lost 100 points for telling Amy to go faster. I never tell Amy to go faster, so I just wanted to address that. So,
Thank you for the point.
yeah. All right. Our champion tonight, Ryan. What'd you think, man? You're all drippy right now. Was it worth it? Was it worth it?
It was worth it. That water's pristine. Yeah, that water's pristine. I'm gonna say they really had me in the first half. Not gonna lie, but when I finished that entire white monster, I really locked in. Just to give you some like how great this weekend's been so far. This being on this show has been the highlight of my weekend. Jumping into a lake on a live stream, even more so.
You're shivering, man.
Yeah, it's kind of cold. It's kind of cold in the lake. You want to try it?
I've been in there.
Yeah. So a little bit. I deserve to shiver at this point. I officiated a wedding. We had people in this community, they come through for each other. And like officiating a wedding or putting on a pig roast and having the pig delivered in like the span of a week, raise $1,000 to do it in an hour. That's the kind of thing that we're building here. So if you can't move to New Hampshire, and I recommend that you do, we do have Liberty Enclaves in your backyard. And if you don't, build it. And if you are in the Midwest, come to our festival, meet us, have fun, have a good time, learn something, take it home to chew on, and then build it for yourself.
All right. And last but not least, want to introduce my buddy, David Fight. He made so much of this happen. Him and Joe made the tech happen. Amazing job all around. Had so much going on. Now you have to stand in a puddle with a microphone.
I've done worse.
Try not to shock yourself. Move forward, and you want to do an announcement.
Yes, sir. Ryan, before you walk away, I'm going to make you do this. So every year we do something here at MPLF where we do a scholarship for people that are trying to help build something that is self-sustainable, kind of carry on the mission, and things. So these are all of our scholarship winners. It gets picked at random, and I'm going to make the winner do it. So pick a scholarship winner.
Should I do the one with the coffee stand?
Go for it.
Drum roll, please.
The winner is Alex Raithmeyer, my landlord. He wants to use this money to be your own lawyer, or to figure out how to be your own lawyer and sue/defend yourself in court.
You're trying to sue yourself?
No. He wants to figure out contract law, all that good stuff, how to adequately defend yourself in civil court, because that's how these guilds go after you. It's through civil court, not through actual law itself. So.
Hell yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you again, Free and Amity, for being here. You guys, this was awesome.
Great time. Just real quick, I want to say once again, thanks again to our sponsor for tonight's show, Xano. Your privacy matters. Choose Xano, the leading blockchain platform that prioritizes confidentiality and security. And if you're new to privacy coins, visit intro.xano.org. Thanks again to Zoom, Beyond Shrooms, zoomtrip.com. Thanks to all of our subscribers. You can subscribe to us on X. And if you want to sponsor us, email studio@freedomuncut.com. And once again, our friends at antiwar.com are doing their big fundraiser of the year. If you think it's important to fight back against the war machine, have independent journalism that's fighting back, digging deeper, questioning the narratives, go to antiwar.com and donate to them. Appreciate you all. This was such a great time. I love being up here. Not even just because I'm not in sweltering hot and rainy Florida right now, but this is just the most beautiful environment. Once again, take another look at like where we're at right now. It is so gorgeous. People are camping. It's a beautiful time. We wish you would come here next year. August 12th through 15th next year is the tentative dates. Make your reservation now. They're selling tickets already on the website, mplfest.org. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you. Actually, we're off next week. We're finally doing our vacation, so we're off next week. We will see you the following week. Check out our website. What is it? smartergameshow.com. And appreciate y'all. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to Terry for manning the chat and the scoring with all the chaos of what is going on here. Love you all. Peace out, y'all. Oh, that's the wrong button.